What's up, guys? It's time for another Monroe Bros ranking video. Haven't done one since before the football season started, and it's been 3 weeks of football. We've been compiling a list of what we thought would be helpful for those who are in fantasy football.
Yeah. So what we decided to do this time, last time we did a tier video. This time what we're doing is based on performance mostly, but some people still have good names that have high upside. We rank these people by what we think is your QB1s, your WR1s, your WR2s, your WR3s, top 12, next 12, next 12. And we're letting the numbers speak for themselves a lot. This people need to put up or shut up. I don't care if someone has a high upside all the time. They need to start getting some numbers.
To start off, we'll do our QBs for you.
Yep. So
it's unequivocal number one on both the rankings, points, and our ranking. I mean, Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly what we thought. It's exactly what's happening with him.
I was expecting a sophomore slump. I was wrong.
Yeah.
He's just killing it.
He's number one, and based on production and based on he's just going to keep doing it. And number two, I don't think is much of a surprise for a lot of people, given how they're performing. Is Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson has just been on fire.
Not just a running back.
Not just a running back. He can throw that ball too. So pretty cool. And then number three is when we go away from the points a little bit, just because of upside, and we did Deshaun Watson at 3. He's the third best quarterback right now.
And he has DeAndre Hopkins out in the back, the field to throw to, and that is always going to help anybody's numbers.
And then rounding out the top 5, we got Russell Wilson and Dak Prescott, who's always performed well. He never gets drafted well, but he always performs well.
So if you got him in the 15th round,
you sure did.
You're pretty happy.
And he's performing third best overall at the moment. So definitely, and you look at those top 5 guys, they all have something in common. They all know how to run with the ball as well. And that's a huge, huge upside in fantasy football when you get those rushing touchdowns and rushing yards, because they give you more points than obviously passing.
But if we want to talk about a guy who can't run the ball, number 6 guy is Tom Brady.
Tom Brady, for some reason, he always falls to draft pick number 16th quarterback, because people all want the young guys, but he still performs well.
He still throws a lot of touchdowns, and New England's been blowing people out. So,
yeah. And then right after that, we got former should have been an MVP one year. Did he make MVP?
No,
he got close, but he got hurt. It's Carson Wentz. So Carson Wentz, another guy. He's got some legs too. He's just a better Rodgers at this point.
Speaking of which, Rodgers is next.
Rodgers is next, and he's one of those guys we had to pull from not being a top 12 performer in the first 3 weeks.
Was he even top 15?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
He was way down there, but he is still Aaron Rodgers, so he's got to be a QB1 when we talk about QB1s in the league right now. 3 weeks is not big enough of a sample size to completely call him out. And if he has these same numbers in week 6, we won't put him in.
Yeah.
We won't put him in it. So.
Matt Ryan coming in behind Rodgers. Again, production speaks for that. I'm not a big fan of his, but he puts up yards, he puts up touchdowns.
So in our last 3 are all new young guys that have just been killing it. And it's Josh Allen, Gardner Minshew, got the Jaguars, and Daniel Jones, who's only had 1 game at this point, but he was awesome. And he's somebody that I think people would consider for an RB1. He's QB1. I'd just rather have one of those guys than Rivers or Stafford or somebody like that, even though I'm wearing a Stafford jersey.
Yeah, you'll think Rivers and Stafford get you 18, 19, 20 points. They're consistent, but you got exciting. A guy like Daniel Jones who had 38 points last week.
Yeah. And then those will finish our QB1s. We do think there's 2 guys that if you're just kind of looking for someone to start who have been performing well, we just don't see as QB1s, but you just want somebody with good numbers. Andy Dalton's been doing okay enough. He's been getting about 20 points a game, doing fine. And then Kyler Murray, the first overall draft pick, doing pretty well in Arizona. We almost put him on the list. We just like Daniel Jones just a little bit more going forward, because we just like his offense a little bit better. Yeah, that's our QB1s. Now we're going to go to RB1s. So, it's behind here.
Oh.
All right.
RB1s. This one was interesting.
So these are the top 12 guys. So we're tired of, this guy should be top 12 and he should be traded RB1. Hey, start performing at least decent enough so we can still keep you in that discussion.
And Barkley didn't make the list because he's injured.
Barkley didn't make the list. But
anybody injured didn't make the list. That's pretty much what happened.
yeah, if someone's injured for a significant period of time, there's
Yeah.
some people who are questionable and stuff. But if people are injured for a significant period of time, still, we just didn't put them on the list. Like Melvin Gordon's not on this list yet.
Yeah, I mean, he's supposed to report, but
he's
he
supposed to
hasn't.
report.
So we're basing on what if they've been producing this year, and he won't produce the rest of the year for the most part.
Yeah. So going off of the number one overall running back right now is obviously Christian McCaffrey. He had a dip in week 2, but the other 2 weeks he had like 35 plus points. The guy's bonkers good, and there's not even a good handcuff for him because no one's as good as him in Carolina, not even close.
I don't know who his backup is.
I don't know who his backup is either. And then right behind that, somebody that we thought could be good. I mean, he was thinking about taking this guy 4th overall. We ended up not doing it, but Dalvin Cook. Yeah, and now it looks like he'd probably be going right behind McCaffrey in drafts.
If we were to redraft today, yeah.
He'd be number 2, right behind McCaffrey.
And number 3 would still be Alvin Kamara.
Alvin Kamara.
Doing it on the ground, doing it in the air, doing it all.
Yep, and Zeke Elliott's still up there too. So a lot of these guys, I mean, even Barkley, these guys that we did take early, first 5 picks in the draft are performing as such. So that's really awesome. And this Cook has just joined the club a little bit. So that's cool.
And now a surprise guy, I wasn't expecting him to do as well as he did in Baltimore, but Mark Ingram has been killing it out there.
Oh, Mark Ingram. We mentioned it in one of our videos earlier. I said Mark Ingram was a great running back. Where did he end up? And you said like Baltimore. I was like, oh, he's going to do great there. And he is.
And here we are.
He's doing amazing.
He's been putting up stellar numbers week in and week out, making that team move like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, that guy is he's just really good. He's got 5 touchdowns already. So pretty awesome. And I like good little caveat. Mark Ingram's doing so well, and that offense is still explosive. If you have Mark Ingram, I would look at having Gus Edwards as well, just in case. Because I just lost Saquon Barkley in my league. It would have been nice to have Wayne Gallman already. But yeah, then you have number 6, who's been performing great. He's been performing like Alvin Kamara. That's Austin Eckler.
I didn't think he'd be this high, but numbers are speaking for him, man. He's filled in for Melvin Gordon perfectly, and it's going to make it actually kind of hard for Melvin Gordon to get his starting job back.
He's got the 3rd most points in running backs. We put him at 6 just because we think that Kamara, Zeke, and Ingram are going to have more long-term value. But Eckler, if you've watched him on the field, he's looked like Alvin Kamara. Like, he looks really, really good. And if you got him now, Melvin Gordon coming back is really going to hurt him, unfortunately. But as of right now, Melvin Gordon's not back, and he's performing well.
Le'Veon Bell, bye week this week, but first 3 weeks he's been performing like Le'Veon Bell would expect to perform. Not like super great numbers, but he's consistently getting you 15 to 20 points.
Yeah, and I like Le'Veon this year, and DJ's right behind him, David Johnson. Both guys we took early on in drafts. Just a couple guys that skipped over him, Ingram and Cook just came in and out of nowhere and just kind of beat him, and that's what happens every year. But the guy that we have here at number 9,
I don't like it. I still don't like it.
He's gotten the attempts, he's gotten the carries, he's gotten the targets. And it's Marlon Mack. He's an RB1. He's an RB1. He's performing as the 7th best or 8th best running back, and he's getting so many looks, and he has no competition in his backfield.
Followed by Derrick Henry, pretty much the same story. Yeah. Deion Lewis isn't really stepping up to take the reins over there. He's the guy who's running the ball.
Derrick Henry is always supposed to be this good.
And he's finally getting there.
He's finally getting there. He should have been up here a long time ago. I mean, but
they had what's his name, Murray. So
yeah, they had Lat Murray.
No, not
DeMarco Murray. That was years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm talking about since the Heritage.
Moving on to Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb at number 11, and finishing out top 12 with
Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs, who's been performing well there too. So our top 12. That's our top 12. There's some names you guys may have expected in there, but. I mean, we did give some people breaks if they haven't performed quite as well yet, like Zeke and like Bell. But if you're just not performing at all, I'm not going to give you a top spot because you have a name. So our top of our RB2 list. So this is the next 12 best RBs in the league. And I'd say that's Todd Gurley is number 13.
Phillip Lindsay at 14.
Phillip Lindsay's being a lot of catches, which helps a lot. And then Aaron Jones and Kerryon Johnson, both doing pretty solid for both their rosters. Not much competition in their backfield. I mean, Jamal Williams is being a lot of carries.
Yeah, he might make it eventually.
Yeah.
Leonard Fournette sitting there after that, followed by James Conner.
James Conner fell. He's been falling. He's not been performing well. The Steelers haven't been performing well. So hopefully
Devontae Freeman. Same story for him. Matt Breida for the 49ers.
Breda is great. I am a little more concerned about him. He has performed well, but it looks like they're using all three of those guys
Pretty much a committee over there.
Yeah, they're using Wilson got 2 touchdowns last week.
He was a goal line back, yeah.
Yeah, and then they had the other guy,
Mostert,
who did well the week before. So Breda's risky, but he's performing well enough to be an RB2.
Joe Mixon after that.
He fell.
Then Florida Bengal Rex Burkhead for the Patriots now.
Yeah. Burkhead, and when would shoot darts at a board when you talk about New England.
Always are.
Running backs. But Burkhead seems to always be somewhat more involved in the game plan than everyone else. He seems to always have some kind of role. And so also because he's a fantastic run blocker. Not run blocker. He's a fantastic pass blocker for Brady also. So they like having him on the field. And I think that's what he benefits a lot of because he's just such a good blocker.
LaShawn McCoy over on Kansas City, and Old Man Gore over in Buffalo.
Old Man Gore,
I'm a Niner fan, and I still think he should have retired by now, but he's still doing it.
He's number 24 on our list, and it's we have him above some of the guys we thought would be on this list. Chris Carson, Chris Thompson, David Montgomery, the Tampa Bay guys, either one of them. But Gore has got 2 consistent weeks in a row. Singletary's still out or hurt.
Yeah, he's been hurt.
And Frank Gore is the starter.
So those are running backs.
Those are running backs. Those are who the people you should be ranking right around where you should be ranking them at right there. Then we have wide receiver. Little man, stop. Then you have wide receiver. So wide receivers, our very best wide receiver is the guy that we've been calling out since March.
He just kept getting overlooked for no real reason. Keenan Allen, dude.
Keenan Allen's number 1.
Not only in our ratings, but in stats, he's destroying everybody. And he plays Miami this week.
He's number 1 ranked. That sucks. All right, brief intermission from the dogs barking. So Keenan Allen.
Best receiver in the game.
He's the best one. He's number 1. He gets all the catches. He gets all the targets. He gets touchdowns. He's involved in every facet of the game. And people slept on him too much to let him fall to like the 8th receiver taken. So he should have been number 1, 2, or 3.
Next up for our list would be Julio Jones getting touchdowns this year.
Yeah. Julio Jones finally getting touchdowns. One season he had like 600 yards and 3 touchdowns. This year he already has 4. So you get Julio Jones with yardage and touchdowns, he's almost unstoppable. He's almost as good as Keenan Allen.
Almost.
Almost as good. But he's not. We still have him number 2 because we just think Keenan Allen will just continuously be part of that awesome offense.
Speaking of awesome offenses, Amari Cooper coming in at 3 for us.
Cooper, he's been performing well.
Leaving Oakland has been the best thing for him.
Yeah. Cooper's number 3. He's the 3rd best running back receiver in the league right now for fantasy purposes. And number 4 he's been doing all right. DeAndre Hopkins here. He hasn't been performing as top 12 or top 15. That's one of those guys you have to just kind of bring up because he is DeAndre Hopkins.
Same thing with next guy, Michael Thomas. He hasn't been a top guy, but he's still on a high-power offense. He's going to be getting those points eventually.
And they've done well. They've gotten, I think, like about 40 points in 3 weeks. They're not doing bad. They're just not doing as well as some of the other guys. They just haven't had their breakout week yet. But
speaking of breakout weeks, Mike Evans last week.
Mike Evans broke back out.
If he can stay with that kind of production, I can see him like skyrocketing up the list. But right now, this is where we have him because he has that big 1 week.
He only had one big 1 week, and then but he is still Mike Evans too on a team that wants to use Mike Evans a lot. And especially after last week, they might try to use him more. But don't get caught in these spots where you think just because someone did something good 1 week that they're going to do that forever. They're not always going to do it forever, especially with guys who are less consistent and not on the list all the time. Evans is always up here the last 4 or 5 years. But some guys you need to trade while they're hot. And don't expect you're going to get 20 points out of them every week when they just have 1 big week.
OBJ for the Browns coming in next.
Performing well again. Just his name kind of brings him up a lot. And he's Odell Beckham. He's got a lot of targets. And then T.Y. Hilton. Everybody was worried about Hilton. He's performing right now as the 6th best receiver in points. And people were worried just because Andrew Luck retired. Jacoby Brissett's apparently good enough to get him the ball as well. So T.Y. Hilton, still T.Y. Hilton.
Adam Thielen, the only Viking receiver on our list at all.
Yeah, Diggs has dropped off hard, and Thielen seems to be still doing pretty well. He's still in the WR1 conversation.
Tyler Lockett getting catches. If you have return yards, he's great for that.
Lockett is number 10 on our list, and it's kind of like he took over where Doug Baldwin would have been a few years ago. He's kind of just their guy, and he also does punt returns. And didn't Doug Baldwin do punt returns too? So he kind of just took over what Doug Baldwin was before, and he's doing great. Then we finish out our top two, which this guy Watkins, number 11. He is third overall in points, but he's fallen off sharply since week one.
Yeah, huge week one. Then the last couple weeks have just been.
But he is Sammy Watkins. He's had great seasons before, and he's on one of the most explosive offenses in football. So I think we still got to give him a little bit more slack going into the next weeks or so. And he's still WR1. And number 12.
We didn't think it would happen.
We didn't think it happened until we started looking at the numbers. But this guy has a touchdown in every game. He's getting targets in every game, and he's getting 15 points plus every game. That's DJ Chark. DJ Chark. He is number 12 on our WR1 list. You can not like that, but it's the truth. A Jacksonville receiver.
I mean, he's actually, production-wise, higher than that.
Yeah, production-wise, he's number 8 or 7. 7, production-wise. We've moved him down to 12, but looking at the next couple of guys, I'd rather have DJ Chark start next week than some other guys. Actually, I mean, performance-wise at least. Because the top of our WR2 list is two people that most people would have obviously started with DJ Chark. Juju Smith-Schuster and Devontae Adams, right? You have to start those two guys over him, and you're probably right. But they're not performing nearly as well, and they're on this list this high because they are Devontae Adams and Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, that's why they're on the list, which is not a bad reason. They have the production.
In the history, just not the season.
It's not doing it right now. So they're for me... In our list, they are WR2s. High end, but WR2s.
Followed by John Ross for Cincinnati, filling in for AJ Green while he's out.
And his problem is, he's got a lot of points from week one, I believe. He had a lot of points. Decent points in week two. But his thing is he doesn't have... he has AJ Green coming back, and we don't know how that's going to affect him.
Our first rookie?
Our first rookie, I think so, yeah.
Terry McLaurin for...
McLaurin! Been great.
Yeah.
He's been doing...
followed by another rookie, Hollywood Brown over in Baltimore.
Hollywood Brown. It's been a year of these surprise teams, surprise receivers. Hollywood Brown being one of them. And then we have, honestly, all four of these guys. McLaurin, then Hollywood Brown, then Tyrell Williams, and then John Brown. All of them have just been good receivers for their rosters and number one receivers for their roster.
Yeah. Same with Cooper Kupp and Larry Fitzgerald after that.
We said at the tier rankings, pick a Rams running back. Which one's going to be correct? So far, the correct one is Kupp, but it could turn any direction at any time.
Yep.
But Kupp is the correct answer right now. But
Chris Godwin over in Tampa Bay, good WR2 after Mike Evans. He's been.
You said Larry Fitz?
Yeah, I said Larry Fitz. Yeah. Followed by Julian Edelman over in New England.
And for rounding out our WR2 list is Emmanuel Sanders, who's always gets no love. That's the way he's always been, but that's okay. He's been performing pretty well. He's got a couple touchdowns. He's got a lot of yards. Cortland Sutton isn't cut into it as much as people assumed he would. So, all right, now our WR3s, the 3 ones. So these are the guys you're starting in your WR3 slot. And some people have fallen from grace. Some people are on their way up, but most of them looks like falling from grace. Kenny Galladay, we were hoping he'd be a 2 or a 1 this year.
He's at 3.
He's at 3. Then you have
Demarcus Robinson.
Demarcus Robinson
over in KC.
He had a big week, a couple times. 1 week, week 2, and then but he's still on KC, so that's why we have him on this WR3 list. He's a Kansas City guy, and Patrick Mahomes is going to throw the ball.
Yeah, Phillip Dorsett for New England. Now that they cut ties with Antonio Brown, maybe he gets
Antonio Brown's gone.
And Tyler Boyd, same situation.
Boyd's great, but and so is John Ross. But we all know the looming AJ Green coming back, and AJ Green is an amazing talent. So we don't know how much I'll cut into him.
Another receiver for the LA Rams, Brandon Cooks.
Followed by Nelson Aguilar, who seems to be the Philly guy right now. But Deshaun Jackson had a great week 1. Watch out for him to come back. But it looks like Aguilar is the beneficiary in his absence.
Christian Kirk looking like he's ready to take over for Larry Fitz, but he's not quite there yet.
No. He's doing all right, though. DJ Moore, we really like him a lot. We think we're really hoping he blows up like Kelvin did a few years ago with Carolina, and he definitely has the potential. So if you can get him for cheap, get him.
Calvin Ridley over in Atlanta.
Yeah, Matt Ryan likes to throw the ball a lot, and he has two big receivers, and he throws it to them. And their tight end is somebody he throws it to quite a bit too.
Marvin Jones for the Detroit Lions.
Just Mr. Consistent, he keeps doing his thing.
He doesn't do anything amazing, but he does a lot of things really good.
Yep. And then
Sterling Shepard seems to have a rapport with Daniel Jones already.
Sterling Shepard is the receiver over there, other than Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram's the only other one over there that's really doing anything with Saquon gone, and Shepard looks like he's going to have a pretty good season. And then our last one that's probably the biggest fall from grace is Allen Robinson.
It's no fault of his own. It's Trubisky just hasn't been performing well. He'll just be the year he really turned it together, and he just isn't.
Yeah, Allen Robinson, we've always kind of, even as Jaguar fans, we've kind of like, yeah, he's good, but
he's not great.
He's not as talented as people think he is. But the guys, and then at the end of the WR3 list here, those are our WR3s. Those are our top 36 receivers. People to look out for: AJ Green, Deshaun Jackson coming back, and then DK Metcalf is probably our honorable mention here, because we really like him a lot, and he could be really, really good. He might take away some from Lockett eventually, or just they both be great. So then our last one is tight end. Tight end has been rough this year. It's really rough. It's rough every year.
It really is. But you have a few guys who are going to do well. Kelsey's doing great.
Kelsey's still number one. Number two has changed. It's no longer everybody. This is exactly why in tier day we said Kelsey's tier one all by himself, and Kittle and Ertz are in the next stage down, but it's significant. And this is why, because they aren't performing as well as people were hoping they were. They aren't Kelsey. They're a good tight end that catches a touchdown every other game.
Kelsey is just a beast.
Ertz can sometimes have big breakout games, sure, but Kelsey is there it wasn't a top three. It was top one. And quite frankly, neither one of those guys are 2 or 3. They've fallen way down. And number 2 is Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram was taken as probably the 5th or 6th tight end for most people. So a lot of people took Hunter Henry before him and stuff. But Evan Ingram is killing it. He's number 2. And then a surprise out of nowhere. Well, Scott had him, so it was a surprise for him. But Mark Andrews in Baltimore, he's also a beneficiary of just Lamar Jackson going crazy and Mark Ingram going crazy.
So you got a guy who's just doing good. I don't know, Darren Waller.
Darren Waller getting a lot of targets, getting a lot of points. He's 5th overall in points for tight ends right now. Most people probably haven't even heard his name. Only reason why I haven't heard his name was because he was on Monday Night Football the first time, and then I started looking at numbers. Number 5, Golden Oldie.
Greg Olsen.
Greg Olsen. He's performing as the 4th best tight end right now, and he's still Greg Olsen. He's still got not Cam. What's his name?
Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen. I haven't heard of him.
But
he threw it. And then this is where we're going to put Ertz. Ertz is sitting at 6. And this is what I kind of expected, honestly, with Ertz. This is almost exactly what I expected. Yeah. But he's still a number 1 tight end, of course. He's still number 1. And quite frankly, I think there's a drop-off after those top 5 we just did. It was Kelsey, Ingram, Andrews, Waller,
We had
Olsen.
a hard time filling out the rest of the list from here.
Then we just put Ertz because he is Ertz. And then Hooper's been doing pretty good. Yeah. And then we put Kittle because he's Kittle. So Hooper maybe could go above Ertz possibly, but just based off production. But Ertz is still Ertz, so we'll see how it goes.
And rookie T.J. Hawkinson's been looking okay over there, not blowing it out like he did week 1, but
Hawkinson had a great week 1, and watching the Detroit game Sunday, he got targeted in the red zone a lot, and he had a couple touchdowns that he dropped or that got called back.
That's how Mario Jones got one.
Well, yeah. And then our last 3 guys they're the most startable. Pretty much out of everyone left.
Not saying much.
Which isn't saying much. Tight end is hard. If you have 2 tight ends that are startable on this list, you should probably trade one away for value because there's somebody out there starting someone terrible. Just straight terrible. And you could probably get some value. If you have 2 of the top guys, you could definitely do that. Me and him both did that this past week, actually.
We have left on the list Delaney Walker, Will Disley, and Jason Witten.
Yeah, Witten's been doing great, actually. I actually like Witten more than Disley, but maybe not more than Walker. I don't know. They're so who knows? But those are your top 12 tight ends, and that's where we're going to round out all of our rankings right now. If you're looking for trading, trade them at that value. When you talk about trading for positions, I would rank them. RB1 is the most important, followed by RB2, and then WR1, WR2, WR3 tight end. And then a quarterback.
When it comes down to a quarterback, you can find a guy to fill a spot for the week.
Yeah, I mean, if you get Mahomes, I guess if you're making a trade for that, you have to have a quarterback you're starting that's really low on the list for it to be worth it. Like, there's no point in turning your Deshaun Watson into Patrick Mahomes and losing a top dude to do it. Like, that's fine. And, like, just try to hope that Mahomes has a bad game against you when you play against him.
Yeah.
That's
All
gonna
right,
be best bet.
there we are, guys. This is week 3. This was our rankings. We'll see you again in a few weeks.
See you later.